Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Hello friends, this is Professor Neelam Panchal from Gujarat University and I welcome you all in this session on management process, meaning, importance, process and types. Friends, management is a continuous process involving different functions. Management is considered as a continuing activity consisting of basic management functions such as planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling and so on. The managers must perform all these functions to achieve the desired outcome and the organizational goals. Management is defined as the procedure of organizing, directing, planning, controlling the efforts of the organizational members and of managing organizational sources to accomplish particular goals. The 4 functions of management are derived from the 5 functions described by Henry Fayol in the early 20th century, that is the planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating and controlling. Let us understand which are the major 4 functions of the management. So, first is planning, which involves the planning of the decision making that is needed to be done in the organization. Secondly, organizing, which includes the appropriate coordination between planning and resources. Thirdly, leading, which involves motivating the employees to achieve the organizational goals. Fourthly, controlling, which is related to monitoring and evaluation. Let me explain you the objectives of the session. Friends, the objectives of the sessions are to make you understand the meaning and significance of planning, to understand the meaning and significance of organizing, to make you understand the meaning and significance of staffing, to make you understand the meaning and significance of directing, and to make you understand all the functionalities of the management. Let us start by understanding the word planning. Friends, the primary and the most important function of the management is planning. Planning involves establishing objectives in advance, a goal that is to be achieved within a stipulated period of time. So, various alternatives are formulated to achieve the goals. So, the best alternative course of action is then selected, which will help the organization to achieve its objectives. Planning is the most basic function of the management. It is deciding in advance what to do, how to do, when to do and by whom it is to be done. It connects the gap between where we are and where we want to go. All the other functions of the management like organizing, staffing, directing and controlling, they are depending on planning. So, planning is related to the future and it is an ongoing process. All the organizations must make a concrete plan before they start a business or execute any project. Let's see the definition of planning. According to Theo Heyman, planning is deciding in advance what is to be done. When a manager plans, he projects a course of action for the future, attempting to achieve a consistent coordinated structure of operations aimed at the desired result. Let us understand the importance of planning. So, planning increases the efficiency of an organization. All the business organizations would like to be successful, have goodwill in the market and higher profits. So, to attain these attributes, the thinking process must be very effective. Let us understand why planning is important for the organization. So, firstly, planning increases efficiency. Friends, planning makes optimum utilization of all the available resources. It is the beneficial to reduce the wastage and reduce the amount of work. Secondly, Planning reduces business related risks. So, planning helps to forecast the business related risk and helps to take the necessary precautions to avoid this risk and prepare for the future uncertainties. Thirdly, planning provides direction. Friends, direction here means to give the proper information, accurate instructions and guidance to the subordinates. Planning informs us what to do, how to do, when to do it, and it helps the organization to achieve its goals through systematic coordination of the employees. Planning encourages creativity and innovation. Planning helps managers to express their creativity and innovation. It brings satisfaction to the managers and eventually it leads to the success to the organization. Planning helps in motivation. Friends, a good plan provides various financial and non-financial incentives to both managers and employees. These incentives motivate them to pursue the objectives of the organization. Next is planning helps in decision making. Friends, a manager makes many different plans and then they have to evaluate every course of action and choose the best strategy. So, the decision making is facilitated by planning. Next is planning helps to achieve the objectives. So, without planning, each activity will be based on trial and error, which will give rise to confusion, and every organization has certain targets. Planning helps an organization to achieve its aims by avoiding overlapping, confusion and misunderstanding. Planning also provides the basics of control and it is the first function of management. The other functions such as organizing, staffing, directing and controlling that are followed and they are organized for implementing the plans. So, controlling records the current performance and compares it to the standards set. In case the performance is less than the standard set, then the deviations are ascertained and the proper corrective measures are taken to improve the performance in future, which is all based on the planning. So, both are dependent on each other. Planning establishes the standards for controlling and therefore, planning is necessary for the effective and efficient functioning of every organization irrespective of size, type, objectives and so on. Friends, now let us try to understand what are the steps in the planning process. So, the first is establishing verifiable goals. First step in the planning is to determine the enterprise objectives. They are often set by upper level managers. The objectives may differ from a desired sales volume or a growth rate to the development of a new product. Second is establishing planning premises. So, plans are made to operate in the future. The second step here is to establish the planning facilities, that is the assumptions based upon which the plans will be ultimately formulated. Planning premises are vital to the success of planning as they supply the important facts and information related to the future like population trends, economic conditions, production cost, government control and so on. Third is deciding the planning period. Friends, very important task is to decide the period of the plan, whether it is a yearly plan or the plan that is spread over for a longer period. The choice of the planning period is decided based upon the time required in the development of a new product, the time required to recover the capital investment and the length of the commitments that are already made. Fourth is a finding alternative course of action. So, the next in the planning is to search for and examine alternative course of action. For example, the products may be sold directly to the customers by the company's salesman or through exclusive agencies. So, what to do? That is a part of planning. Next is evaluating and selecting a course of action. So, having searched the alternative courses, the next step is to make evaluation and analyze them in the light of the premises and goals and select the best alternative. This is facilitated by the quantitative techniques and operations research. Next stage is implementing the plan. Friends, the best possible course of action has now to be implemented, that is putting the plan into the action. For this, the managers must develop derivative plans for each department. A draft version of the action plan should be communicated to those who are directly affected and gain their cooperation. Next is measuring and controlling the program. So, the process of controlling is a critical part of any plan. Managers must assess the progress of their plans, follow up so that they can take remedial action if the plan is working as per the plan or alter the original plan if it is unrealistic. Let us understand now the types of plans. So, first is objectives. Objectives may be defined as the goals that has an organization tries to achieve. So, objectives are the objectives of the enterprise's activities. Objectives provide the direction to various activities and it serves as a benchmark for measuring the efficiency and effectiveness of the organization. Second is the strategies. A strategy is a special kind of formulated to meet the challenges of the policies of the competitors. Strategy can be shaped by the general forces operating in an industry and the economy. So, the strategy must be consistent with the external environment. Thirdly, policies. Friends, policies may be described as the plan that are meant to serve as a broad guidelines for the decision making in a firm. So, policies exist at various levels of the enterprise. Now, the policy should be definite, it should be positive and it should be clear. A policy is a standing plan that assists the decision making and it should be referred to as the general statement of the established rule. For example, a firm has a policy of promotion from within the organization. If a vacancy arises, the first choice is given to the existing employees. Next is procedure. So, procedure lays down the manner or the method by which work is to be performed in a standard and a uniform way. A procedure is a form of action that involves implementing a policy. For example, the sales department set up a policy to execute all the orders within 48 hours. So, a procedure must be followed in chronological and systematic order to fulfill the orders. Next is programs. Programs are the precise plans that need to be made to discharge a non-repetitive task. So, the essential ingredient of every program is time phasing and budgeting. Specific dates should be established for the completion of each successive stage of the program. For example, an enterprise has a program of opening 5 branches in a different part of the country. So, they must allocate the funds and time for securing the necessary accommodation, recruiting the personnel to manage the business, arrange the supply of the goods that are to be sold through the branches. Often a single step in the program is set up as a project. Next is rules. So, rules are an explicit statement that tells the members of the organization what they can or what they cannot do. Rules do not allow any room for interaction because it specifies the action needed to be done in a particular situation. Rules enforce discipline. For example, the use of mobile phones at the workplace during the office hours is limited. Next is budgets. So, budgets are the plans for the future periods containing the statements of the expected results in numerical terms. Budgets are very useful for an enterprise. In numerical terms, they facilitate the comparison of the actual results with projected ones, and they serve as a control device. The important budgets are sales budget, production budget, cash budget, revenue budget, expense budget, and so on. So, this is all about the planning. Now, let's move to the organizing. Friends, after planning, the next function of management is organizing. Organizing involves the division of work among the people whose efforts must be coordinated to achieve specific objectives and to implement predetermined strategies. It is the backbone of management. Following the objectives of an enterprise and the plan is established, the next step in the management process is to organize the activities of the enterprise. According to Lewis Allen, organizing is the process of identifying and grouping the work to be performed, defining and delegating the responsibility and authority, and establishing the relationship to enable people to work most effectively together in accomplishing the objectives. According to him, organizing is a process of defining and growing the activities of the enterprise and establishing authority relationships among them. Concerning this definition, it is very clear that the organizing refers to how the people of the group or the group of the people is arranged and distributed among the group members. Now, let us try to understand the importance of organizing. Friends, there are different points which highlight the crucial role that the organizing plays in the business enterprise. It includes number 1, it facilitates efficient management. Organizing is necessary for the performance of the other functions of the management. Poor organizations may result in the duplication of the work and efforts. Secondly, it facilitates communication and coordination. Friends, the organization creates a clear-cut relationship between the departments and it helps in laying down the balanced emphasis on various activities. It provides channels of communication and coordination of the activities of different departments. Thirdly, it facilitates the growth and diversification. So, sound organization helps in the growth and the expansion of the enterprise by facilitating its efficient management. It also creates the capacity of the enterprise to undertake more activities. It ensures the optimum utilization of resources. So, when there is an organizing, it leads to the optimum use of the material, financial and the human resources. It matches the jobs with the individuals and vice versa, and it ensures that the job position is clearly defined. It minimizes the confusion and a waste of the resources. Next is, it provides for the optimum use of the technological innovations. Organizational structure is not rigid. It is flexible and it provides the adequate scope for the adoption of the new technology. It facilitates specialization. Organizing provides a great scope for bringing specialization to every department of an enterprise through the proper allocation of the jobs among the employees. Organizing thus can be understood in two ways. One is organizing as a process and then organizing as a structure. Let us understand organization as a process. It refers to how the work of a group is arranged and distributed among the members to efficiently achieve the objectives. It creates the relationship between one job to another and lays down the scope of authority and responsibility. the duties are fixed in such a manner that the work is performed with a speed, with accuracy and economy. Let's see what are the steps in the process of organizing. So, the process of organizing involves number 1, determination of objectives. Friends, the purpose of the organization must be identified. Objectives determine resources and various activities that should be done to achieve the organizational goals. Secondly, identification and grouping of activities. So, if the group members are not and they are to pull the efforts effectively and successfully, then there must be proper division of the major activities. Each job should be accurately classified and grouped, and this will avoid the duplication of work. Thirdly, assignment of duties. So friends, after grouping the activities into various jobs as per the nature of the work, similar activities should be placed under one department. Everyone should be given a particular task according to his or her ability and the skills. Next is establishing the relationships among the individuals and a group. So, the activities that are performed by the persons holding the different positions must be related. Every person in the organization should know about his responsibility, authority and the accountability, so that there is a coordination among the individuals and the departments. So, the organizing process results in an organizational structures with precisely defined authority and responsibilities. Now, let us understand what is organization structure all about. So, organization structure, it shows the authority and responsibility relationship between the various positions in the organization by showing who reports to whom. It lays down the pattern of the communication and coordination in an enterprise. So, it facilitates the growth of the enterprise by increasing the capacity to handle diversified situations. Organizational structure is usually shown in the organization chart. So, there are two types of organization structure. One is a functional structure. What is functional structure? These type of structure is formed by grouping all the activities into the functional departments and putting each department under one head. Functional structure leads to the specialization. It promotes the efficiency and results in the increased profits. It is suitable for the organization where operations requires a high degree of specialization. For example, a steel manufacturing company has divided its structure into manufacturing, finance, marketing, personnel, research and development, as it has diversified activities and its operation requires high degree of specialization. Second is a divisional structure. So, large companies often find it to operate as one large unit under a functional organization structure. So, the size of the company makes it difficult for the managers to oversee all the operations and screen the customers, and so the overcome of the problem will be with the help of the new structured or divisional organizations. So, each division functions relatively autonomously because it contains most of the functional expertise that is provided by each unit, and the product, customers, processes or geographical divisions that can be formed, and totally it depends upon the organization. For example, Samsung. Now, Samsung has a multi-product based division. Each product division has its own manufacturing, research and development, marketing and the finance departments. Now, let us see types of organizations. So, the first type of organization is a formal organization. Formal organization refers to a structure that is relatively and consciously designed to enable people of the organization to work together in accomplishing the common objectives. It is the predetermined by the top management to facilitate the smooth functioning of the organization. The authority responsibility relationship created by the organization structure is to be followed by all the employees in the organization. It is created as a result of the company's rules and policies. Second is an informal organization. Informal organization refers to the relationship between the people in the organization based on personal likes, dislikes, emotions, attitudes and so on. And these relationships are not in terms of the procedure and a regulation laid down in the formal organization. These groups are not planned. They are automatically created within the organization. And the membership in the informal organization is a voluntary. So, it originates because of the social interaction. Now, the third function is a staffing. So, after preparing and organizing, the next function of management is a staffing. It's very important to have a good organizational structure, but it is even more important to fill the jobs with the right type of people. Filling and keeping the position provided for by the organization structure with the right people at the right place is the staffing phase of the management function. All the managers have a responsibility for staffing, and the staffing function focus on the human aspects of the management. So, the staffing function has assumed to be great importance these days because of the rapid advancement of the technology, increasing the size of the organization and the complex behavior of the human beings. According to Kunz and O'Donnell, staffing involves manning the organization structure through proper and effective selection, appraisal and development of the personnel to fill the roles designed into the structure. Let us understand the importance of the staffing. So, staffing is people centered, and success in dealing with the people, it would depend upon the degree to which they are perceived as making realistic contributions to the solution of the management's problems. It should be noted here that every manager is expected to perform this function because he is engaged in getting things done and with the assistance of the people. So, there are various benefits of the proper and efficient staffing. Let it includes number 1, helps in finding efficient workers. Staffing helps in discovering talented and competent workers and develops them to work more efficiently for the achievement of the organization goals. Secondly, it helps in increasing the productivity. Staffing ensures greater production by putting the right man at the right job. Thirdly, it helps in improved organizational productivity through proper selection according to the requirement. Fourthly, maintains harmony. Staffing maintains harmony in the organization. So, through proper staffing, individuals are not only recruited and selected, but their performance is regularly assessed and promotions are conducted. This gives everyone an equal opportunity for getting better compensation, which finally results in the peace and harmony. Next is it helps in morale boostings. So, the job satisfaction keeps the morale high of the employees. Through training and development, programmers' efficiency improves and they feel assured of their career advancement. It also helps in optimum utilization of the human resources. So, staffing helps in the proper utilization of the available personnel. Manpower forecasting provides a basis for the recruitment, transfer and the recruitment of the employees. A proper manpower plan will determine the amount of manpower available. So, now let us understand what is the staffing process. The staffing function is performed by all the managers at all the levels. However, its scope is different in a small and the large organizations. In large organizations, there is a separate department called HRD, that is the Human Resource Development, with specialist people to manage the people. Staffing is an inherent part of the human resources management, as it is the practice of finding, evaluating and establishing a working relationship with the people. So, there are different steps that are involved in the staffing process. What are the steps? Let us try to look into. So, the first step is manpower planning. Friends, estimation of the manpower requirements in the future, that is the first stage of planning, and it is first stage of the staffing process. So, it is also known as a manpower planning or the human resource planning, right. So, its purpose is to make the right kind of personnel available so that there is no surplus or a no shortage of the people in any department. So, to determine the qualifications needed to meet the requirements of the job, the organization first must analyze the jobs, write the job description and prepare the job satisfaction and the specifications. Second is a recruitment. So, once the requirement of the manpower is known, the proper process of the recruitment starts. It is the process of identifying the sources from the prospective candidates and stimulating them to apply for the jobs. It is a positive process as it attracts suitable applicants to apply for the available positions. The process of recruitment and the cost involved in it, it depends upon the size of the project and the type of the individuals to be recruited. So, the sources of recruitment can be internal sources, that is the recruitment from within the enterprise, and the external sources, that is recruitment from the outside. The third stage is a selection. So, the process of selection that leads to the employment of the persons who possess the ability and qualifications to perform the jobs that have fallen vacant in the organization. So, selection is frequently referred to as a negative process as it eliminates all the applicants who do not meet the requirements of the jobs offered. As the employees are placed in the positions for which they are best suited, they generate maximum job satisfaction, reducing the labor turnover and increasing the overall efficiency of an organization. The candidates must go through the whole selection process of the organization, that is interviews, test, medical examination and so on. Next is a placement. So, the candidates selected for the appointment are to be offered specific jobs. Personnel should be placed in a position where there is a full use of their strength and capabilities. Proper placement reduces absenteeism and turnover. The next is induction and orientation. Friends, induction is the process of familiarizing a new employee with a new workplace, surroundings, company rules and regulations. Next is the induction program is generally informal in case of a small organization, but in the large organizations, the orientation or induction is carried on formally so that the new employee develops a favorable attitude towards the company. Next is training and development. So, training is an organized activity for increasing the knowledge and skills of the people for a definite purpose. Its purpose is to improve the behavior of the employees and to enable them to perform the better. The initiative for the training usually comes from the management, and development emphasizes on growth of the individual. It is a continuous process of the development that contributes to the overall growth of an employee. The next is performance appraisal. So, it refers to all the formal procedures used in an organization to evaluate the employees and their contributions. It also reveals how efficiently the subordinate is performing his job and knows his aptitudes and other qualities necessary for performing the job assigned to him. Next is a promotion and a transfers. Friends, promotion refers to being placed in a higher job position with more salary, job satisfaction and a responsibility. Based on the feedback reports of the employees' performance, they are given promotions and other opportunities. And here the transfer means shifting an employee from one job to another, from one department to another. So, transfer may take place due to change in the organization structure or changes in the volume of work. Next is compensation. So, compensation of employees for their services is very important responsibility of any organization. Every organization must provide excellent wages, salaries and the other rewards to attract and retain the employees. So, compensation to workers, it varies and it depends upon the nature of the job, the skills required, risk involved and the nature of the work also. So, that is all about staffing. After understanding all these fundamentals of planning, organizing and staffing, let me summarize the session. Friends, we have learned that planning is the primary and the most important functions of any organization. We have seen that in the management, the basic three functions during the session that we have seen is very important. We have learned that planning is the most basic function and foremost function, and deciding everything in advance is very important for finding out and for analyzing the issues in the planning. We have also seen the types of plans. We have seen the steps of the planning process. Also, we have tried to understand what is organizing all about. What are the ways in which the organization happens? What are the types of organizations and what are the processes of organizing? And lastly, we have also tried to look into that staffing is very important. When you try to coordinate between the staff and when you recruit the right people at the right time, at the right place, that is the real crux of the management. So, during this session, we have also tried to understand all about the staffing, the types, the details and the process of the staffing. We have also seen what is involved in the staffing exactly. I hope you are clear with all the fundamentals of all the three basic concepts of the planning, organizing and staffing. And in the next session, we are going to talk about the two remaining process of the management. So, I hope you like the session. Thank you.